Women's rights in Afghanistan. Women in Afghanistan have been struggling for their rights during 10-20 years. Many newspapers and articles consider Afghanistan the worst country for women. It has a very high rate of domestic violence, discrimination against women, and even genital mutilation. It is the only country in the world where more women suicide than men. History. Some years ago, Afghan women were equal to men for everything, and they contributed a lot socially, economically, and politically, like when they helped to write the country's constitution in 1964. During the 19th and 20th century, Afghan rulers tried to lessen women's restrictions. This goal could not be achieved. However, rulers like King Amunallah were able to make some changes, like trying to unify and modernize the country. Amunallah was able to lessen the control that families had over women and encouraged families to send their daughters to school to receive an education. In addition, he wanted women to adopt a Western style of dress. In 1921, he created a law to prohibit forced marriage. Another ruler, called Queen Soraya, also made changes to try to improve the quality of life for women. She became one of the most powerful Muslim activists. During the 20th century, tribes and men continued ruling over women. In 1973, the state became a republic. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, the People's Democratic Party of Afghanistan, PDPA, tried to change life conditions for women.
This communist group tried to reform marriage laws, women's health, and women's education. Few women were able to hold some new jobs. These were to be scientists, teachers, doctors, and civil servants since they were given a better educational opportunity. However, women lived in poverty and were unable to continue having these great opportunities. In 1977, Mina Keshwar Kamal founded the Revolutionary Association of the Women of Afghanistan, also known as RAWA. She then was assassinated in 1987 when she moved to Pakistan. RAWA is still operating in Afghanistan and Pakistan, fighting for a better future for women. Nevertheless, over the years, things have changed radically. About 15 years ago, the Taliban took control of the country, restricting many rights to women like the right to drive and the right to vote. In September 1996, Taliban took over Kabul, Afghanistan's capital, and put restrictions to women. The Islam religion denied many kinds of rights for women, but the Taliban enlarged the list of rights even more. It was prohibited for women to work, leave the house without a man, attend to a male doctor, and had to completely cover themselves. Powerful women such as doctors and teachers were forced to become beggars or prostitutes. Women are treated worse than any society in any other time at this point in history. The United States decided to help the United Front to attack the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. They were able to force them out of Kabul. This helped women to win rights and work again.
Nowadays, since the government is too, women are still abused and do not have many laws. Examples of denied rights are that a man has total authority over the woman, men can have as many wives as they want, women have no right to vote or freedom of speech. And the most amazing thing is that women have not the right to drive because men say that driving a car hurts women's reproductive system. Some weeks ago, some Saudi Arabian, Pakistani, and Afghan radicals posted a video on YouTube singing a song against women's rights to drive. Even though things have improved, Afghanistan is certainly one of the worst places for women to live. Reasons why it's difficult for a woman to live are: a woman dies every 2 hours giving birth, since it is the place in the world where more women die during pregnancy. 9 of every 10 women are illiterate, and women's life expectancy in Afghanistan is of 44. Over 50% of women in Afghanistan get married or engaged by the age of 10. A woman activist mentioned that 80% of these marriages made in rural areas that lack money are forced or arranged too far. Qué largo es. Giving birth, since it is the place in the world where more women die during pregnancy. 9 of every 10 women are illiterate, and women's life expectancy in Afghanistan is of 44. Over 50% of women in Afghanistan get married or engaged by the age of 10. A women activist mentioned that about 80% of these marriages made in rural areas that lack money are forced or arranged to far or older men, even at the age of 60. The absence of security during 3 decades of war has made families to force their daughters to marry. Poor parents also engage their daughters for marriage to avoid the cost of caring for them. Old husbands pay money to their families for a girl.
Women also suffer from a lack of education. Only 40% of the Afghan girls attend to school. 3 times more boys go to school than girls. If girls attend to school, their parents only permit them to attend to all girls' schools close to where they live. Other families simply think it is useless for girls to receive an education. Schools have been burned down and girls have been threatened. In addition, widow women have an average of 4 children, and it is difficult for them to take care of them. Many are forced to prostitution.
Examples of discrimination. This discrimination makes women's life very difficult and desperate. Some statistics say that more women have committed more suicide than in any other country. A very good example of their desperation is a woman that 2 years ago burned herself to escape from being violated and abused. Here there is a video from the New York Times that shows this horrible act. The discrimination to women is not only a big problem in Afghanistan, but in almost all Islamic countries. For example, women from Pakistan are also desperate that 15-year-old student called Malala is fighting for their educational rights, giving speeches in the UN. Her words are so powerful that Malala has won this year's Human Rights Prize.